Hey guys, it's Daniel with Hard Lens Media. We got another perspective for you guys. This one was submitted on our Discord by _S. Thank you so much for the submission. There's a lot going on in America, but I think it's a good idea to go make sure we check in with our friends in Australia. What are they up to? Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm from the Australian Government with a message from our Prime Minister. In the digital age, our favourite media monopoly is suffering. It now has to compete for ad dollars with tech platforms.
Even with all the subsidies they get, even with the power of News Corp, even with Rupert Murdoch's immense power everywhere, it looks like they're just running out of money even as they fire every single person in sight.
As firm believers in the free market, we can't let the market get away with this, so we've come up with a way to tilt it back in favour of this giant fucking tumour. Introducing the News Corp bargaining code. Because we can all agree that Facebook is the problem. It's become too powerful, pays fuck all taxes, promotes fake news, and then it tried to bully us. Your government. We can't let such power fall into the hands of this billionaire. That power needs to stay in the hands of this billionaire who's become too powerful, pays fuck all taxes, promotes fake news, and bullies your government. News Corp bargaining code.
That's well said. That's the way this needs to be talked about. Everyone's like, oh no, it's one or the other. This again, both sides can be terrible, but News Corp is way more entrenched in Australia than Facebook is. So I think I know who's going to win, and it looks like they're going to explain it to us.
The News Corp bargaining code recognises that traditional media is struggling. As advertisers shift to Facebook and Google, thousands of journalism jobs have vanished, many of them in regional areas. Sure, we could fix this by taxing tech giants and investing the revenue into quality journalism, but then we'd have to close tax loopholes, and we can't do that to our friends.
I love this video. Everything about it is so well put, so well articulated, so well argued. This is exactly the kind of thing we need in America. Now, ironically, Australia has a bit of an advantage here because they just have less people in their country. Fewer people can make a much louder voice by a proportion, and they're not like a global empire like the U.S. is, so they just don't have that sort of entrenched power that like the U.S. has that we have to deal with, where we're way too tiny to even make a dent in our national discord, but we could probably do a little bit if we were in Australia, so congrats to them.
Plus, it means we'd end up with quality journalism, and fucked if we want more of that. So instead, we came up with a law to make Facebook and Google prop up mega news corporations by making them pay for news content linked to their platforms. Will that help our ailing media?
Fair point, but isn't this going to help the little guy get ahead? I mean, this bill must be for all journalists throughout Australia, because to do anything other than that would be idiotic and tilted simply towards the same people that are already in power.
The code doesn't ensure the revenue will go to journos instead of shareholders, and we don't really give a shit. The only reason we're doing this is to keep our propaganda department in business. News Corp bargaining code. The best part of the code is that instead of trying to fix what people don't like about big tech, it encourages traditional media to get in on the action. That's why rather than introducing stronger privacy laws to prevent your data being mined by these guys, the code lets these guys mine some of that data too.
That sucks. I didn't even realize that was in there.
It also gives them access to changes to the algorithm, which means our friends will have inside knowledge that lets them optimize their content for clicks and ad revenue.
What the fuck?
And we all know that's what the world needs. More corporate clickbait bullshit. In short, the code aligns the interest of big media and big tech, thereby ensuring that they have a shared interest in destroying human civilization for profit. News Corp bargaining code.
Of course, not all media will benefit from the code. Smaller publishers and independent journalists and YouTubers won't have access to these perks.
So let me get this straight. It's basically just big corporations get to stay in power and keep power, and all the other people in Australia that aren't those big, mean corporations get nothing. In fact, they're now farther behind because their competition, which is just, again, not even journalism, is getting access to the algorithm, is getting access to stuff that we don't even know about and we would never be able to know about, just because I guess we're not big enough to matter. We're going to continue to not be big enough to matter because someone has to get a handout, and it might as well be the people with the most power and everything else. It's exactly what we saw in the U.S., where I remember when CNN rightfully got about 2,000, 2,500 views of video, and now they're getting 200,000 views of video. This is socialism on a corporate level. Let's call it corporate socialism, maybe oligarchy, and then yell about how socialism is bad and the little guy shouldn't get anything as we keep giving the big guy everything that they ask for and more.
Perks, making it harder for them to compete and survive.
Which is great for us here at the Australian government, seeing as many of those smaller publishers, independent journalists and YouTubers just so happen to have become very good at exposing the shit fuckery of the Liberal government!
News Corp bargaining code.
Good to see Friendly Jordy's in the video. He's doing great work. If you've not seen his channel, go check it out. It's wonderful.
Bargaining code. So as you can see, it's a win-win. Big media gets propped up, big tech avoids being broken up, and big cunts get re-elected because we'll have silenced our critics. The loser, as always, is you. Authorised by the Liberal government.
That was a really informative video. I'm really glad you guys sent this to me. It looks like things are bad everywhere, but it's nice to know that at least in Australia, there is a large enough base of people fighting against them that it seems like they're at least responding to you in some way, shape, or form, where in the US it feels like we're still sort of like beneath their noses in many ways. I'm really glad that that video got put together. I really like a really good, well done informational piece like that. It's a real shame that Australia is the way it is. I'm really sorry for people in Australia that are having to deal with that. To everyone watching, let's keep doing what we can, even if that means just pointing out how everything's still pretty fucked. Until next time.